Good morning, folks. I'm just taking off where the boat is parked into this slough, long slough they call it. I'm hoping to paddle down and maybe see some wildlife, and then also do a short hike. There's a portage down there about 2/10 of a mile, and my intention is to hike that if I can get into where it's dry and get out of the boat. Flip this around so you can see the surroundings this morning. It's semi-clear. There's some high clouds, and had a bit of a crisis last night because ran out of solar battery. Had to use the backup, and the backup ran out of power. So I had to scramble, take the food out of the freezer. There wasn't too much left, and transfer that to the refrigerator, shut down the freezer part of the system to save power. And I'm hoping I get enough sun today to hold me through till tomorrow, because it's just have not been getting much solar energy at all. So it's been tough. Well, let's go over along the side here and track the edge of the slough. And I think I'll flip it around again. Yeah, it was rattled me a little bit when I ran out of power like that. That's the first time I've run out of not only the backup, but in the primary generator. Fortunately, the backup did bring it up to 36%, I think it was. So I figured if I'm on just refrigerator power only, I could probably limp through, especially with some sun today. So we'll see. I'm also charging the backup to the backup battery. It's not very big, but it could help me limp through a few more hours if necessary. So, all right, we're just coming into the portage. We'll see if we can be able to get in here or not, or if it's going to be too... Haven't seen any moose or anything. Turn you around here so you can see supposedly where the trail comes down. We will find out. Well, wait a minute, that might be it right there. It looks like it right there. I don't know. Some mud there, but it just looks like a trail. Right up through there. Doesn't that look like a trail to you? So let me check the map. See if... No, I'm not in the right place. Not in the right place. Somebody thought it was, I think. Either that or a moose came down here, I don't know. Evidently I've got to go through this little pass over here where the rock is. So we'll go paddle over a little further here. Looks where that straight ahead there's a rock outcropping, and right across from that is where the trail should come down. So we'll see. Supposed to be just inside that little entry there. I would think there'd be a sign though, but maybe not, because this is not a protected water inland lake or anything like that. It's connected to the main body, so there may not be a sign. Usually they'll put a sign up if you're not allowed to portage in with your own canoe or kayak. So we'll check it out here. There's a sign. There is a sign. You can see it there on the left. It's always nice when you have a sign. It looks like there might be steep enough for me to get out without getting feet wet too. We'll kind of swing by here and see where it's best place to get out. Yeah, there's the trail. Oop. Well, I usually get out on the right side, so I'll flip around here. Well, there'll be a lot of dancing around here, so I'm going to turn this off. we're hiking along here, trying to be quiet. Hopefully see some moose, bear maybe, or some other kind of wildlife. At least that's the hope. Down to the lake. This is where the trailhead is. Fishermen out there. So it's a quarter of a mile over here, half a mile back. Nice hike. Hiking along, trying to get sightings on critters. So far, nothing. Quiet in the forest. Hardly even hear any birds. It's pretty quiet. Brought my binoculars along and camera to get some shots. Smells really good in here, but everything's real wet from the rains the last few days. So we'll see what happens here. But we'll be quiet. Maybe we'll see something. You never know. Could meet a moose walking down the trail, or a bear feeding up in the berry, or up on the hillsides here someplace. We're just back to Long Slough, where the boat is, and we'll load up the kayak and head back. And maybe we'll still see something on our way across Long Slough. I don't see anything down here right now, but never know. We're just sneaking around quietly, hoping to see moose or bear, even beaver. There's two great big beaver houses in this slough that I can see, and there's probably more. So I'll sneak down around the corner here and see if we can see something. Beautiful day. This is the reason I come in the fall quite often. The weather's been bad too on this trip. A lot of cloudy weather. Check around the corner here just to see if there's a moose. Nothing. One thing that's unique here is there's quite a few reeds, cattails. Well, we'll head down the slough here and see if this time we went along the south side. The first leg on the return will follow along on the north side. Well, we're coming back to the landing where the houseboat is. Turn you around here, and big pine there on the right. Haven't seen anything. I've been doing a lot of drifting, just quietly, hoping to maybe see a bear moving through the underbrush or coming down to get a drink of water. But nothing so far. So we're just sometimes just drift for a while and listen. A fairly extensive slough, so I'm sure moose come out here, especially after the tourist season is over. They're pretty smart, so they know when not to be out here. Even though there's no hunting here, it's still ingrained in them to be careful. You always hope to see something big each year. Each trip that I take, I hope to see large animals, but you just don't always get your wish. I'm not sure what's sitting there on shore. Oh, that must be those geese. Keep hearing geese I guess I could take a look. We're not in a hurry. Could be just a piece of wood there too, so driftwood. Maybe it looks like something, but it isn't. Yep, that's what it is. Little piece of birch with a couple of birch bark still on there. Looked like the white head of a goose. All it is a piece of wood. Oh, there's an eagle. I don't know if you can see that in the camera or not, but bald eagle. I heard him screeching this morning. It's one thing on this trip that I've noticed a lot, especially if there's young ones. Just a lot of verbal activity, with the eagles talking to their young. Or yeah, we got a little wave action coming from the open water right here, but I don't see any fishing boats out there today, and I haven't heard much activity, although I saw 2 boats over on the other side when we went across the portage. So maybe they just move around, I don't know. All right, there's a landing ahead of us. Hopefully I can get out with dry feet again. So far I've been fortunate. Got in twice, got out once. That worked. I just need one more time here to keep my feet dry. Did pick up some mud, but that's okay. I may have to strip the camera off here though, so I don't lose that in the rushes, because they kind of come up close and I don't want to lose it. Yeah, let me get one picture here. That's the landing where the big pine is there. Put my camera back. Now I just need to find the slot that I came out. It should be right where that big tree is, because that's where I have the solar panels set up. I'll come in and then I'll turn the camera off, because I don't want to lose it in the stripping it off. I got my phone out hanging out on the side here. All of them are vulnerable to losing them, so we don't want that. And I think I'll go in with a little speed so I get the bow up pretty high. Anyway, that's where it is. Yeah, that's the correct spot. So I'll turn around here so I can see where to go there. And turn everything off. Good evening. Just sitting here enjoying this beautiful fall day. It's at the end of the day. The sun is beginning to set, and I still have the panels up on the boat. I'll have to lower those in a minute after the sun goes down, because we're going into the launch ramp tomorrow to retrieve the boat and head home. Was able to do some hiking and kayaking today. It's been a beautiful fall day, kind of a hazy sunshine, but only a few puffy clouds from time to time. It's been generally good. Starting to wrap things up for tomorrow, trying to minimize the amount of effort and work I have to do when I pull the boat out. But I am going to have it's a little early yet, so I haven't started it yet, but I'm going to use the fire ring tonight. I had a wood fire last night, which you would have seen in the video, but I just couldn't find enough wood around here to really try to do wood fire tonight. So I'll just use the fire ring and then store that back on the boat when I'm finished. So this is the last day, technically, the last overnight on the lake. I pull out actually in the morning, but it's about a 4-mile trek over to the ramp from here. As normal, it takes me about 2 hours to get the boat out, get it ready for the road. Things like the biminis need to come down. I already you can see the bow bimini is already folded up and secured for the highway, but I'll do the aft one when I get in, and then remove lines and just get the boat ready for going down the road. I didn't get as much sun today. I picked a very bad spot for utilizing good sun, because these trees right here block the solar energy that I could have gotten on the panels. So could have done a better job of picking a boat site. But at the same time, I'm glad I came here, because I was able to kayak over to the portage today and hike the portage and then come back. Did not see any big animals. I was always hoped I see moose, bear, wolves, whatever. but I did not see anything like that. There are several beaver huts, and there was a beaver, at least one last night, making a lot of racket out here. He didn't like my presence, so he was slapping his tail. And at first, I was listening to an audiobook, and I thought it might be a moose trucking through the water out here. Turned that off and listened quietly for a few minutes, and then the beaver made the noise that they usually do, and I knew what it was. But you always hope maybe this is a good slough here. A lot of good forage around the whole thing for moose. So I'm sure they use it. But it's also populated enough with people like me that they probably avoid it during the peak summer season, and then they use it in the fall and in the spring. Tomorrow I head home. It's about, what do I figure, 290 miles. I usually take a break somewhere along the way. Not sure where on this particular leg, but I stop usually for lunch someplace along the way. And then try to get in. The goal is to get into White Bear Lake about 4 o'clock in the afternoon tomorrow, so that I have time to unload the boat and then get it over to my staging area so I can get all the batteries charged up before I store it away in the storage unit. It's been a good trip. A disappointment regarding having enough solar energy. I had to shut down the freezer last night because there just wasn't enough. Couldn't keep the battery up, and I used my backup the fourth time last night, and it would not bring it up to 45%. It shut down at 36%. So I can't get as much out of that backup battery as I had hoped. I was hoping to get one more full charge, but I didn't make it. But at the same time, that thing saved my day because I used it 3 times, actually 4 times, just a partial fourth, to bring it up to bring me through another day. For all practical purposes, it gave me another 3.5 days I wouldn't have had. The solution was to shut down the freezer and then back up just the refrigerator, and then that really reduces the power usage, and that helps a lot. Had 36% last night. Normally I would use 30% overnight with the freezer. It used about 10%. So that's the difference of just running the refrigerator on, well, half the refrigerator. I could run the freezer as a refrigerator too, and maybe going forward I may have to plan fall trips around that plan. I may have to consider the fact that I just can't count on 2 or even 3 weeks of freezer. I did do that last fall. I did it this time. When I shut down the freezer last night, there wasn't anything critical that's going to go to waste. So that's a good thing. I didn't lose any food or anything. But it is a disappointment. For 2 weeks, I thought for sure I'd have good enough weather to get through it with just solar power, but I didn't make it. That was a disappointment. I did not see any large wildlife, no moose, no wolves, no bears. And I always hope to see that. One thing that was interesting on this trip was the number of eagles. I saw bald eagles everywhere, almost every site, and sometimes 2 or 3, a family. And the other thing I noticed was a lot of talking back and forth between the eagles, especially families. They just would be screeching back and forth and making noise sometimes in the evening. It was quite amazing. I have not seen that kind of performance before, or behavior. It was kind of interesting. I'm pretty sure it was associated with young mom and dad telling the kid to get home or whatever, but I don't know for sure. May have to do a little research on that this winter. Just sitting here by the fire ring. Finally got it fired up. The sun is down low enough that it'll get dark pretty quick. Temperatures are pretty mild, so I've been setting out here without even a fleece on tonight. That'll change pretty quick over the next 30 minutes, but the fire ring provides a little heat and a little pleasure here at the last day of the trip. Got a little bird behind you. You can't see it, but he's curious about my fire, so he's sneaking up close to take a look. Anyway, it's been a beautiful fall day. Couldn't fault anything other than my choice of sites. It's not been a very good site because of the trees, and could have done better there. In terms of location, it's really good because of the access to this long slough right behind here. The main body of the lake is here and the slough is here. about a mile, I guess it would be northeast, east-northeast. There's a portage that you can take over to another section of the lake. And being located here has a lot of different options in terms of taking advantage of the site. The only drawback, like I said, is that there's not very much, there's too much shade from the trees if you're relying upon solar energy. It looks like I've got enough in the solar battery to make it through tomorrow, so I'm not too concerned now. It's pretty steady at about 28%. Last night I shut it down at, or it quit, the backup battery quit at 36%. And then it was at 26 this morning, so I used about 10% from around 10 o'clock at night till close to 6:30 or something like that. So I'm expecting a little more than 10% because it's a little longer time frame. But I should have plenty, and then with a little bit of sun tomorrow, I'll build that up on the road. The problem here is just been the trees. I have no way to recover much. I thought about moving to a place that had better sun or go out to anchor, but because of the level or status of the solar battery, I felt like I really didn't need to do that. And I preferred to stay here and not make another move at the last minute here. I'm about 4 miles from the launch ramp, and I'm planning to wake up around 4 a.m., get a really early start. I'd like to be in there at 7 a.m. if possible. I'm not sure if that's a good time or not. I'm trying to avoid a lot of traffic, and for some reason this particular bay right behind me and on down to the end is just been full of hyperactivity for the time that I've been here. Boat after boat after boat goes down and comes back, goes down, come back. I don't know what they're doing. If they're fishing, they don't seem to stay there that long. There are some trails up there, so I don't know if there's resorts that are hauling people up there to hike those trails. That could be the situation. I don't know. The last time I was here in 2021, I didn't see that. I didn't see that kind of activity, so I don't know. Now, granted, I was there this summer in July, so there was a different time frame. It may be that people want to walk that trail or the trails up there when it's fall colors, because it is pretty. Today when I walked the little trail down here, it's only a quarter mile long, but it was very pretty. Still very moist from the rains we had the last few days, but it was very pleasant. So that could be what they're doing. They might be hauling people down there to hike the trails and then going back to pick them up. So I'll probably set out here until it gets pretty dark. I can't load this up tonight anyway. I've got to let it cool and then load it in the morning. So I'll have to plan that. I'll be doing that in the dark. But it's been a good trip. Good trip. I ran out of power quicker than I thought I would on a 2-week trip. It was really unusual to have that much cloudy, rainy weather. But once in a while that happens. And it happened to me. The rest of the trip, though, other than those 3 days of rain, has been pretty good. It's just that there's been a lot of cloud cover here in the last week of the 2-week period. It kind of slowly went downhill on the solar battery and never was able to recover. And in the fall, with the low angle of the sun in this latitude, that's a constant problem up here. So you really have to take advantage of the sun when you can get it. If I wasn't at the end of the trip, I wouldn't have stayed here today. I would have moved on and got more sun, but I'm pulling out tomorrow, so I figured it didn't really matter that much. So you folks have a good evening, and thanks for following along on this trip. So we'll talk to you later. Take care.